The next chapter is about to begin. Join us live every Tuesday and Thursday for brand new episodes of the American Contractor Show. Our mission is to bring you the latest tools, innovations, and knowledge to help you become the most informed contractor in your market. Knowledge is the ultimate power, and we are connecting you with the most knowledgeable minds in our industry. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. American Contractors, I hope you're ready. This one's for you.
This is Larry Bache with the Northern Law Group, helping policyholders for more than 30 years. If you have a claim or your client has a claim that needs help, please feel free to call the Northern Law Group because we are the true policyholder advocate.
C3 was eager to help us, and even whenever we weren't giving them work, they were still eager to give advice. The things that they were putting out for the for changing from DMO to RFG and giving that to the industry and not charging anything for it, I thought was really cool. And that's stuff that I, as a contractor, appreciate. I'd recommend C3 to any contractor that's looking for a PA, especially if you're around Colorado. Great guys, man. I'm nothing but happy with the work they've done for us.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Lead meteorologist John Choquet here for our daily forecast. Sponsored as always by C3 Group, Marine Law Group, NARA Supplement, and Balance Claims. Check them out in the description below if you're watching us here on Facebook. Jumping right into it with our weather headlines, we are talking about the number 3 wind event of the year, but we also had our first tornado of 2021 yesterday. If you recall, we had a wind threat in California, and lo and behold, we actually had a little tornado out of it. We returned to that best of 2020 list with a number 3 wind event. And of course, we do have a chance for some strong winds tomorrow across the Houston area as we have a pretty strong cold front moving through the Gulf Coast states, and we hit the only area where we're going to have any instability at all is going to be down by the Gulf Coast itself. So that first tornado of 2021, bringing it up just because it was a pretty one here in Chico, California, just outside of Chico, California. They do get tornadoes in California every once in a while, especially in the valley, and yeah, it was a pretty nice looking one, low precip storm. Just an interesting note, we made it to January 4th for a tornado, and who would have guessed it would have been California this year. So with that, it transitions pretty nicely to that top 10 that we have for wind. And for just reference point, the ranking is pretty heavily weighted on damage total damage estimates. However, in the number 3, it's going to be a little different, and you guys can probably guess actually is kind of tied into this tornado here. So we're just kind of recapping everything since it's been a while since we talked about the wind. So number 10 was our Pennsylvania-New Jersey derecho on June 3rd. We had 75-mile-per-hour winds in Greater and Philadelphia itself, 90-mile-per-hour winds in New Jersey. That was a 3-star map on our number 10. Number 9 was yet another derecho. This one was in the Rocky Mountains on June 6th. This was the first time a derecho had crossed the Rocky Mountains and the Continental Divide ever, so it's pretty crazy there. Winds in excess of 70 miles an hour, widespread across the Denver metro. Number 8 was the start of what ended up being a very intense hurricane season, Hurricane Delta. It's now the record holder for most rapid development in the Atlantic. It was the 4th landfalling hurricane in Louisiana. It did about $2.5 billion in damage, which is particularly impressive due to the fact that it made landfall about 15 miles to the east of where Laura made landfall just a couple months earlier in the month of August. Number 7 was yet another hurricane. This one was Hurricane Sally over by Gulf Shores, Alabama. It was the first time a hurricane made landfall in Alabama since 2004, and also made landfall very close to Hurricane Ivan, which was in 2004. And in the $3 to $4 billion range for Sally. This is an intense little storm that we were chasing, and moved very slowly, so a long period of rain and strong winds along Gulf Shores. Number 6 was yet another hurricane, Hurricane Zeta. Again, hurricanes are dominating this list, just the fact that we had so many this year. It was a record-tying 6th hurricane to impact the United States. It was the 5th one, unfortunately, to impact Louisiana, and about $3.75 billion in damage in the United States. This is the one that got the closest to New Orleans. It actually impacted New Orleans fairly significantly there, and that's where a lot of those damage numbers came from. Number 5 was finally not a hurricane. It was the tornado outbreak on Easter, April 12th and April 13th. There was 140 tornadoes, including 3 EF4s, the deadliest tornado outbreak since 2014, which was also in the Deep South, and about $3.6 billion in damage in the United States, and a metric crap ton of wind and tornado reports that came in from those 2 days with this storm. It was a very busy Easter here at Hill Trace for that one. Hurricane Isaias, another hurricane here in the number 4 spot for the wind map, on a 5-star map. It was did quite a bit of damage with $4.5 billion. It was the costliest in New England since Hurricane Sandy in 2012, and it was the only hurricane to make landfall this year that wasn't on the Gulf Coast. And finally, it was a very efficient tornado producer. It produced 39 tornadoes, including EF3s, which are pretty rare among tropical systems. You typically see EF0 to EF2, so an EF3 was pretty impressive. And again, this is the only Atlantic landfalling hurricane in Oak Island, North Carolina, and it rushed up the East Coast. And with that, whenever anything goes in the Northeast as a tropical system, it tends to do some pretty big damage numbers. That leaves us number 3 here, which I'm sure a lot of you were wondering when this was going to show up. The March 2nd Nashville tornado. Nashville had a rough 2020. This was a real kickoff of things being terrible for Nashville this year. And it did $1.6 billion in damage, which is notably a lot lower than the other things on this list. However, this is from one tornado, one singular tornado. It's even more than that when you add in all the other little tornadoes that happened. But for just the Nashville tornado, which went about 60 miles, it ended up becoming the 6th costliest tornado ever in the United States. And it moved through Nashville itself as an EF3, East Nashville, especially just east of downtown, and where a lot of the honky-tonks are and stuff, suffered incredible damage. And then it went on to become an EF4 in Cookeville, where it leveled a lot of homes as well, unfortunately killing about 25 people. And the weirdest thing is the tornado moved pretty much over the exact same path as the April 1998 tornado that impacted Nashville as well. So just some real bad luck there. And you can see a lot of photos from this. These are notably all from the Nashville area. A lot of damage. I ate at this place, fortunately. All these areas completely destroyed. Again, tons of damage. Obviously, Nashville had a lot of unfortunate things happen in 2020 between this tornado. They had a derecho in May, and then obviously the bombing on Christmas Day, the pandemic in general. It was a rough year for the city of Nashville, and then you see some later on, this was in Cookeville, where there was some completely leveled homes. So number 3 event, this has got the only major tornado on here, thankfully, for the top 10 list. And I think now tomorrow we'll be on the number 2 hail, and then on Thursday, the number 2 wind event. I'm sure you guys could probably guess what that one's going to be. There's not too much left from 2020. That was pretty intense. So there's our hail forecast for today. Nothing expected across the United States at all going into your Wednesday. No severe hail. However, you do have that chance for some wind here in the Houston area, as we're going to have a pretty strong cold front moving through the southeast with more pretty Arctic cold air. It's pretty normal for this time of year here in January. We're going to get these strong cold fronts to rip across the United States, bring cold air, bring possible snow up north. Down here in the Gulf Coast, we get a little bit more of that instability. Could see gusts upwards of 60 miles an hour in the city of Houston in the afternoon hours. You see here on that future radar, we have the storms forming and pushing through southeast Texas again, around dinner time. And once it moves off the coast, things will weaken significantly as it moves into Louisiana and to Mississippi in the overnight hours. So that's all we're really looking at for you for your Wednesday, guys. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Hail Trace. Hit See First on Facebook, or whatever you got to do, a bell, or whatever it is, that you don't miss any of our posts here on Facebook, our most active social media. And of course, give us a call at 855-334-4245. Any comments, questions, or concerns you may have. You need to get ready for 2021. We're here to help. So just give us a call, email us, or visit our website at hailtrace.com. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you again tomorrow at 12 p.m. Go over the number 2 hail event of 2020.